A very good evening to you, a very good morning, a very good afternoon. For those who are watching, my name is Kiel Minero. I'm an energy consultant, and what I'm here to do today is to present you the energy forecast for domestic houses and also businesses for 2019. So before I get started, if your current electricity bill is quite high and has been high before, this is the right channel for you. If you've never seen any differences in your gas and electric, I'm not too sure what planet you're on, but at the same time this may not be the channel for you. But this is a channel for people who'd want to understand their bills and also be more in control over the tariffs and know exactly where their money is going for the gas and electricity. So without further ado, the aim of this report is to supply transparency to the domestic market for energy consumers, current affairs for gas and electrics within the UK. And what I'm going to explain right now is why energy prices are so expensive. So when it comes to being supplied for electric and gas, the average household use approximately around about 10 to 20% of their household income for their electric and gas. The average individual living in the United Kingdom uses gas and electric from the start of the day all the way to the end of the day. With such a need for warmth and convenience, according to studies, this has put the UK as a high user of the supply worldwide. So, as you can see from the table, this has presented data on an energy usage for high usage for electric. As the UK being part of the top 6 highest electricity users, this indicates that there is a high reliability on the ongoing supply of electric. In relation to the sources of supply, ever since the decline of energy sources, the UK's coal industry within the 1990s have relied heavily on importations coming from outside the countries. So Russia and the Netherlands, France, they're used to fulfill now the demand for the energy supply. So studies from Anthony and Sterbinger et al. Suggest that with the current reliability on imports of energy sources being at currently 60%, should rise to 20% extra, which is going to leave at least 70% of importations being relied on by the UK by 2025. So with the growing consumers' importation costs, this has also put us in the most expensive countries within the world for energy, compared to other countries who may use just as much but are able to get just as much as energy sources such as petroleum and also coal at less of an expensive cost. So as you can see from this map, you can see the differences at the same time, where the highlighted blue columns is to where the petroleum is very expensive, which is our energy, whereas in countries such as America and Russia, the electric and gas would be less expensive because of the fact, even though there's a high consumer for electric and gas, they make the electric and gas, so therefore they're making it at a cheaper rate for their consumers. So within 2016, the UK's referendum has become the leading factor which has influenced the prices of gas and electric to households. Due to eco-friendly incentives from the government, fracking projects which generates natural gas within the country has been turned down, moreover leading to increased importation costs. With the UK government, who have recently employed Boris Johnson to make a clear deal for Brexit by 31st of October, this brings uncertainty to prices to consumers, as government tax hasn't been properly standardised within the markets. So from the supplier's perspective, with the rising prices of electric and gas from the past few years from the reducing buying power to consumers, there has been a growing number of new suppliers who have come into the market. From the year 2000, British Gas PLC has been the only supplier to be only able to supply the rates for consumers for gas and electric. However, after deregulation of supply, this enabled consumers to be provided the energy and gas from a variety of suppliers with lower and higher rates from the coming of years. 19 years going forward, there are now 60 different suppliers within the UK who have the ability to take over electric and gas meters and supply the customer with lower rates, fixed term deals which are able to save the customers from growing rates from the same supplier. So With this large base and the high marketing overheads to retain the customers, British Gas has lost over 70% of their market share to other companies, which have been able to do better for their customer services, and around 60% of consumers right now, realistically, are now choosing their supplier based on just realistically lower rates. So, as we can see, consumers' confidence in suppliers are growing to try out new deals from direct offers from the company or the use of price comparison sites. However, there has been an ongoing trend of energy companies actually going bust. According to the Guardian newspaper, studies show that ever since 2018 August, 14% of suppliers have gone bust, leaving 740,000 households on high rates from being moved to default suppliers. Currently, SSE, which is a major supplier for electric and gas, are now at the stage of moving the customers to OVO Energy due to giant profit losses. According to reports from the BBC, by 2020, this means SSE would either sell their company or let it float into administration. This means customers who are currently with the company will likely be with the company within the next 12 months, also on high rates by default. So, from the consumer's point of view, as we can understand from our own perspectives with households, from a consumer's point of view, 25% of users, bill payers, do not really understand how to read their bills, very simply, and another 25% of consumers are having problems with making contact with their suppliers. Well, according to Ofgem, energy consultants are available to be able to explain bills to consumers and are able to manage ongoing accounts with different suppliers. However, real consultants are not very easily able to get in touch with, as they have a limited amount of clients they are able to help with, along with commercial businesses being able to afford only for the labour cost reviewing the supplier tariffs at the same time. So usually the customer that charged not as much for their gas and electric are not really being put into priority. So to be able to tackle this issue, smart meters have been introduced to homes and businesses by the government, with the incentive for customers to see how much their usage costs every half an hour. However, there has been a growing skepticism in the savings for consumers, as new time of use rates are being introduced to customers, with smart meters now creating an extra cost for customers to take into consideration when choosing suppliers. There is also another growing issue with the meter not functioning properly if the customer decides to change their supplier, according to the Telegraph. With an ever-growing pressure from the government to have smart meters put in the majority of homes within the UK, suppliers have resorted to blackmailing customers to have it installed by refusing to supply low energy cost unless customers sign up to having a smart meter installed. Also, with heavy fines if quotas aren't met. This is from the supplier's point of view. So from SSE PLC, which we've recently spoken about, they have recently been fined £700,000 by Ofgem for not being able to reach their target to install smart meters. As the watchdog for gas and electric, Ofgem have introduced price caps to offer variable rates, and this meant from April the 1st there was a maximum unit rate and standing charge a supplier can charge for gas and electric, which can fluctuate through the year. According to Ofgem, they are lowering the prices from October to default tariffs. However, experts say that it's reported within the Times that customers would have saved way more money by just realistically fixing their prices from suppliers, despite the control from Ofgem's price caps, because this means now customers are actually £27 per month worse off when they are left on the variable rates. So this brings me to the conclusion. So based on the external factors, we are in a direction to increased energy costs within an uncertain future to the economy. The suppliers within the market are very volatile and in a situation where neither large or small companies are realistically safe within the market. Moreover, these studies indicate consumers without ongoing expert advice will be having growing troubles with understanding or finding the most suitable tariffs, along with the skepticism of the new smart meter technology. And this brings me to the conclusion to my actual whole presentation. As an energy consultant, if you have any of the situations you want anything to be cleared up, I do offer my services for free. So if you have any supply disputes, debt management, I can compare energy deals in your area, no matter what supplier you're currently using. I do yearly bill reviews, so not just 1 year. I do yearly bill reviews which are ongoing. I do energy saving plans, so I usually check the meters at the same time, so you can actually have more of energy savings, and you can also have more control over your tariffs. And also energy health checks and appliance cost calculations, so we can pretty much figure out how much your lights are costing per day, per hour, per year, based on not just how much they say it's on the box, but also how much you're actually paying for your gas and electric at the same time. So with that left off, I'd just like to thank you for listening to my presentation. Like and subscribe to my channel. If you want to see this information based on an external document itself, you can always email me and I'll be able to send that to you. And without further going along, I hope you have a very pleasant day.